Hi everyone, it's Brittany with Ethereal Hair and Makeup. Today I'm going to be showing you 4 different types of braids. Let's get into it. So the first braid I'm going to be showing you is the French braid. And I'm going to prep her hair with this moisturizing oil. This is a great oil because it doesn't leave the hair feeling gunky or weighed down. It really just absorbs instantly into the hair, which is great. So I'm going to pick up a section right at her crown, about 3 or 4 inches wide, and I'm going to split that into 3 smaller sections. So for this braid, you need to know that you're going to have one hand that's holding one section, and that's going to be the working section or the working hand. And then the other hand is going to be holding 2 sections, and that's going to be your resting hand or your resting sections. And they're going to kind of switch up as we go along, but that's kind of what you need to remember. So that working hand, my left hand, is going to cross its section over the middle section, and they're going to trade places. And now you can see that they've switched. And now I'm going to switch my hand. So my left hand is now going to hold the middle section as well. And now my right hand is the working hand with the working section. So now that right hand is going to cross its section over the middle, and they're going to trade places. And then my right hand is going to hold the 2 sections. So now it is the resting hand. Now to do the French part, I'm going to pick up some hair with my section in my left hand, and I'm going to cross that over the middle. So I added some hair from her scalp to my section, and then I crossed it over. So same thing on this side. So my right hand is going to cross its section over the middle, and then I'm going to add a little bit of hair from her scalp to that section, and that's going to cross over as well. And then my hands are going to switch again. So I'm picking up some hair, adding it to my working section, and then I'm crossing it over the middle, and they're trading places. So you just want to kind of keep in mind, like, the outer sections are crossing over the middle, and then you're adding some of that hair, some of that extra hair into it, and that's what's making the French braid. So each time you cross a section over, you need to be adding some hair into that section. And it's always crossing over the middle, and then that middle section is going to become your new outer section. So I'm crossing it over, picking up some hair, adding that, crossing that over, switching my hands. So I'm just going to continue this until I reach about her ear, and then I'm going to braid normally the rest of the way down. And then I'm going to use the Dry Volume Burst, which is a really amazing texture spray, and I'm just going to spritz that braid, and that's going to help me kind of loosen it up. This is a totally optional step, but I really like how it looks when the braid's a little bit more fluffed out. Then I'm just going to secure it with an elastic and wrap it around the back of her head and secure that into place. You could even do a braid on either side and then just cross them in the middle and the back. And this is the finished look. Once you know how to do this braid, you can incorporate it into any style that you want. Next up is the Dutch braid. Once you figure out the French braid, you've totally got this one. So I'm going to be using the working wax while I'm doing this braid. This is really going to help me cut down on any frizz and just keep my sections nice and clean. So I'm picking up that section, same as before, right at her crown, and I'm going to split that into 3. And you've still got the working section and your resting sections. So now for this one, that working section in my right hand is going to cross underneath that middle section, and they're going to trade places. So I just tucked it underneath. And now my right hand is going to hold those 2 sections, and it's my resting section now. So now my left hand is going to do the work. So now my left hand is going to cross underneath that middle section, and they're going to trade places. So now to make it the Dutch part, you're going to pick up some hair with this outer right section. So I'm going to add some hair to my section. I'm going to cross it underneath my middle section, and then they're going to trade places. Same thing on this side. So my left hand is going to add some hair, pick up some hair, cross it underneath my middle section, and then they're going to trade places. So I'm crossing that section underneath, adding some hair, and then it's just going to go right under my middle. So this is what you want to kind of keep in mind as you're doing a Dutch braid. This is how it's different than the French braid. So if you're like, I'm confused, I don't know what braid I'm doing, your sections, your outer sections are going to be crossing underneath the middle. So they're not going over anymore. They're just tucking underneath. So you just want to kind of keep that in mind as you're doing it, just even if you have to say it out loud or just really go slow to figure that out. So they're just crossing underneath. And the smaller the sections you take once you get the hang of it, the more detailed your braid is going to look. So once I get to about her ear, I'm just going to braid normally the rest of the way down. And then I'm just going to fluff this braid out. And you can see that with the Dutch braid, it gives more of like a 3D effect as you're kind of loosening up your braid. Just make sure that when you do this, you're starting at the bottom, so closest to your hand, and then just taking your time, loosening your sections one at a time and working your way up so you don't get a lot of frizz in the braid. And then I'm just securing that with an elastic at the end and putting the rest of her hair in a ponytail and just putting that into a quick bun. And then I'm just draping that Dutch braid over the top of the bun. This is a super quick, easy hairstyle. And this is the finished hairstyle. I love how this braid looks. It's super voluminous, super chunky, such a fun look. Next up is this gorgeous fishtail braid, which is definitely one of my favorites. So I'm going to be using the texturizing taffy for this braid. This is just really going to help me give my sections lots of texture and help me control them as well. So I'm gathering all the hair to one side like I'm going to put it in a ponytail, but I'm going to split it into two sections. And I'm going to zoom you in so you guys can see, but the whole time my palms are going to be facing upwards. So starting on the right side, I'm taking my pointer finger and I'm going to be poking it through the back of this section to create a smaller section. So I've just poked it through the back. Then I'm going to rotate my palm over so that my palm is now facing down. Now my left hand is going to grab that little piece that we just created and it's going to go live on the other side. So it's going to go join the other side. Now I'm just going to reset my hands and we'll start again. So now on the left side, same thing. I'm going to poke through from the back, create that small little section and then rotate my palm. And that section is going to go live on the right side. So those are the steps and we're just going to be repeating them over and over. So on the right side again, poking my pointer finger through, rotating my palm over, trading that section to go to the other side. Same thing on the left side, poking my pointer finger through the back of the braid, rotating my palm over, trading that section to the other side. So what's going to keep this easy for you guys is to make sure that you're keeping your palms facing upward so that when you go to rotate your hand over to give that section to the other side, it's super easy. You're like, what's the next step? Okay, rotate my hand over, trade that section to the other side. So I'm just poking through the back, rotating my hand over, trading that section to the other side. And if you need to look in the mirror as you're doing this, that can be really helpful. If you're doing this on yourself, just kind of watch in the mirror so you can see what your hands are doing. Now, if you feel like, okay, I've got the hang of the steps, how can I do this a little faster? So now I'm just holding the hair in my left hand and I've dropped that right section. So I'm just going to pick up a piece of hair in that right section with my right hand and I'm going to cross it to the left side. And now my hands are going to switch and I'm going to drop that left section. So now with my left hand, I'm going to pick up a section of hair and I'm going to cross it over and it's going to join my right hand. Then I'm going to switch my hands and drop my right hand. So once you feel like you've got the movement of the hands and the palms rotating and you know what's actually happening, this is a great way to kind of speed it up and just like grab your sections, cross them over, switch your hands. So this is just something that you can do once you feel like you've got it. You can just start doing these steps. So you're just going to repeat the exact same thing all the way down till you get to the ends. And then this is the fun part where you start to kind of bring that braid up, fluff it out, smooth it out, just get it really big. This is totally optional, but I love big fluffy braids. So this is just a super fun part for me. So I'm just going to kind of fluff it out, get it nice and big, and then just secure it with an elastic. And this is the finished look. Once you get the hang of this, you can incorporate a French braid into literally any style. It looks super complicated, but once you know those two steps, you're just repeating them over and over again. And this is the finished look. So this last braid is the pull through braid. So if you're not about braids, they're just not your thing, definitely at least give this one a try. So I'm starting at the crown here. I'm going to create a section, secure it with an elastic, and then fluff out that crown. Then I'm going to flip it up over the top and clip it out of the way. Then right below that, I'm going to create another section, secure it with an elastic right below that first one, and then drop that top one down. Now here's where the braid starts. You're going to split that top section in two, and then you're going to bring that bottom section through the middle and clip it out of the way. Then you're going to secure those tails into an elastic and drop that section back down. And that's the first little link in your braid chain. Now you're going to repeat it again. So the top ponytail gets split into two, bottom one comes through the middle and gets clipped out of the way. Then I'm going to gather a little bit more hair with this one, secure it with an elastic, and then you drop that top section down again. and then fluff out your next little link. So top section is always getting split in two. That bottom one comes through the middle and gets clipped out of the way. And then you're just creating a new section, securing that with an elastic, letting that last one down, and then fluffing your little ponytail out. One thing you want to keep in mind when you're doing this style is you want to fluff out your little ponytail links after you secure them. So don't wait until the end to fluff all of them out like we did with the other braids. The reason why you don't want to do that is because these ones are getting secured with elastics, so they're going to be a lot tighter than the rest of our braids were. So if you wait until the end to kind of go back and fluff those out, it's not going to really work the best, and it's going to get really frizzy and kind of messy. So just kind of fluff those out as you go. Now I'm just creating little ponytails as they work down the rest of her hair until I reach about the end. So once you feel like you've kind of gotten to the end as far as you want to go, you're just going to gather the rest of that hair into one elastic and then just kind of fluff that out. And this is the finished look. I'm just kind of spritzing it and checking all the sides, but this is what it looks like. Super fun, even if you're not into braids. This one is super easy once you get the hang of it. And that is it for these braids. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another tutorial.